In October 2016, Culver Academy celebrated the restoration of the original 1922 Langford and Moreau design of its golf course, which Golf Club Atlas described as arguably the finest nine-hole course in North America. The school's first links were north of today's State Road 10 and shared the space with military equipment, a less than ideal space for play. In light of the golf craze of the 20s, General Genelette suggested to E.R. and B.B. Culver construction of a golf course located just east of the homestead. Famed course designers Langford and Moreau were employed. William Langford and Theodore Moreau are considered two of the great course designers of golf's golden age. Their spring 1922 course design followed the original 27-hole layout planned by Culver. However, the initial construction was limited to 9 holes, with plans to add more in the future, though the Great Depression ended that notion.
And when you look at the rendering, there was a massive clubhouse, lake resort that sat on the banks of the lake, and it's unusual today for a secondary school like Culver to own their own golf course. So it must have been incredibly unusual to even contemplate a 27-hole facility with a hotel. I don't think today that there is another school in the country that has the ability to be a steward of 9 holes of golf with this architectural pedigree. It really is quite a masterpiece.
Construction began in fall 1922.
What's interesting to me is that there's a rule of thumb when you're riding a golf course that if you have an awkward feature or a difficult feature or something that is going to influence how the rest of the holes lay out, you best get it out of the way at the very beginning, because it becomes almost a forgivable sin, if indeed it is a sin. And so this escarpment, this bluff, is easily the most dramatic feature and the most significant and difficult topographic feature on the whole property. And so right away, Langford and Moreau just routed the first tee shot right over it. And so it's out of the way. And the first hole is probably the quirkiest of the bunch because of how it kind of rides around the hillside from right to left, but the ground falls away from left to right. We call that a cattywampus golf hole. Normally, when you see a golf hole that banks like a racetrack, that fits your eye and that feels right. But when you see a golf hole that wraps opposite around the way the ground is sloping, that can be kind of awkward. So I think they got away with it because it's the very first hole.
American Legion Commander Alvin Owsley dedicated the course during a special visit in July 1923. A large crowd observed. Owsley also participated in play of a foursome over the new course. Play opened for cadets on the new course in April 1924. Tests were required to ensure proper knowledge of golf and to prevent already occurring damage to the course. These scenes were shot circa 1928. In August 1924, CMA hosted the first annual Indiana State Junior Championship Golf Tournament. It continued annually here for several years, helping establish the significance of the course. In July 1926, Walter Hagen, former British and U.S. Open champion, played an exhibition match at Culver. Some 1,700 people watched him play against new Academy golf pro and coach Irv Nelson and others. The event added to the course's prestige and notoriety. Nelson coached until 1962, leading off-season practices at the canvas driving range in the rec building.
I'm growing fonder of all I see, a garden blooming.
In 1927, the Vedette reported that some 2,000 golfers were using the course monthly. In 1932, Culver bought the Palmer House Hotel with plans to create a golf resort. Though the Depression halted that plan, the hotel, renamed the Culver Inn, became a campus staple.
Is there any sweeter relaxation?
On the hills hard by, there is a beautifully kept golf course. Look out, Dad, when your boy takes you on at the country club next summer. He's been practicing up on you all winter.
Due to the 1940s wartime challenges, the sand bunkers were unattended and not reclaimed, and it was the first of several changes shifting the course away from its original design.
Back during World War II, during the austere conditions at the academy and across the country, maintenance ceased to be important, and the bunkers all grew in. When we saw the golf course, there wasn't a bunker on the golf course basically, and all of these bunkers had grown in. The greens had lost their shape and their size, and as Chris mentioned, that aerial that we found from the 30s really allowed us to turn the project into an archaeological dig of sorts. And the bunkers were still here; they just needed to be uncovered, and we could tell the shape of the greens were still here, and we knew where the shoulders and the sides of the greens were, and we were able to take these greens back out to the original size.
In 1943, the course again made headlines via an exhibition match featuring Byron Nelson. He would later make a record run of 11 straight PGA tournament wins. At Culver, he played Major C.A. Whitney, Irv Nelson, and Frank Willadis. In 1963, major changes were made to the north of the course from construction of the new Woodcraft camp, which led to the closing of the par 5 first hole during the summer session. A replacement hole, par 4, was designed on what had been a practice area. The original golf shack at the Culver course was little more than that. It was replaced with a new, much more substantial clubhouse in 1967. And in 2015, work began on a landmark restoration of the original Langford and Moreau-designed, bringing the historical course back to its original glory and making it one of the few Langford and Moreau courses retaining its classic design in the U.S.
It's incredible to think this is a very boldly scaled golf course even for today, and so I think it's darn near monumental that they built it like this in the 20s.
I think it's generally accepted that from our eye, these are probably 9 of the best green complexes we have seen. The contours and the shape of these greens are just outstanding, and the fact that they have survived over this long a period of time is a testament sometimes to less is more, and that's kind of how we found the place. But once we enlarge these greens back out to where they were initially, we find that these may be some of the best set of greens we've ever seen.